I didn't get to see it until I finished it because I was so paranoid about things happening to it. I was keeping it covered. And so it had, like, there was paper and magazines and whatever, because it was also, again, my cover was just as much of a puzzle as the underside because it depended where I was working, but I would only have my 72 square inches visible. So it wasn't literally, I guess I could have uncovered it and looked, but I didn't. So it wasn't until I finished it that I uncovered it and said, wow, that's what that looks like, cool, you know. And I took a few pictures, and I think it was the next day we took it to the frame shop. Pretty close to that because, again, I just didn't want anything to happen to it, and it's not protected till it's in the frame. It can get bent, it can get ripped, it can get spilled on, whatever. And so I had to get it in the frame for my own sanity as quickly as possible because there's just too much risk having it out. And we got it back Pierogi Fest weekend, which was so cool because the Tousleys were here, our friends from Cleveland. Their family was actually here when we had our Abbott and Costello Joanne's moment and finally got it back from the print shop and they saw it unveiled. There was this whole great thing where we were having a party at a friend who's named Joanne's house, and the artwork was at the print shop, which or the framing at Joanne Fabric. So we'd been partying all day at our friend Joanne's house, and my husband Jim left to go home. He said, well, I'll stop at Joanne's and pick up your art piece. Like, okay, that's great, pick it up. I'm so excited because we'd just gotten the call. We were at Joanne's house to go get it. And he goes over with our van. It doesn't fit in the van. So he goes home, he calls me, he's like, it won't fit in the van. I said, well, you gotta go back with the Transit, the bigger car, you know, the one that it fit in just barely, you know, flat, 48 by 48, it was 48 across. If you turn it an angle, it'll go in, because with the frame, it's 56 inches. Like, you gotta go back. And I quickly drew a triangle and was doing the Pythagorean theorem. And everyone at the party was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm making sure it's gonna fit in the car. So it's like 48 squared plus 48 squared equals, take the square root, you know, side squared plus side squared equals hypotenuse squared. And I was like, I just did it. It's going to fit. It'll make 56. I still don't know quite what the square root of that is, but I'm close enough. I know you're okay on the 56 inches. You'll get it in the car. Go back and get it. And Jim's like, well, okay, I'll go get it, but if I go to Joanne's, I'm not going to come pick you up. I was like, but you have to. We have all this stuff because we had, like, been making music at the party. We had a sound system. We had amps. We had food. I was taking home, like, half of a 13-foot sandwich. I was like, how are we going to get this home? Because, you know, the Tousleys were there. We had another friend there. And they had cars, but they had all of their stuff in their car. The Tousleys had gone camping before they came to the party. So they had, like, tents and coolers and bear boxes. And I don't even know what all in there. Well, we could take a few things, like, but we have 12 guitars and fine, I'll come and get you, I won't get the art. And I said, just go to Joanne's and go home. And I'll take care of it. And he's like, fine. And we kind of hung up and, you know, a silly, not really an argument. It wasn't really an argument. We were both trying to take care of each other and it wasn't working. And so I was like, okay, cool, I've taken care of it. He's going to go get the artwork, and he's going to go home, and we're going to figure out how to get all of this stuff in the other people's cars and bring it back. And it's going to be tight, but we'll make it work. And this is what we did. So we broke down the party and got everything in the cars, and I got in the car with a friend, and we're driving along, friend Steve, and yeah, we're driving along, and all of a sudden we get this text message from my husband going, I'm at Joanne's. Where are you? It's dark. No one's here. And I was like, huh? It wasn't until partway into this whole thing that it dawned on me that I said, just go to Joanne's, and I'll take care of it. Well, he thought I meant go to my friend Joanne's and we'll be all ready to leave the party and pack up. And I meant go to Joanne's, the fabric store, and pick up the artwork and don't worry about me. And so our lines were all crossed. And it wasn't until we got home, and he was way behind me coming home at this point, because we just hadn't, I've never drawn that that similarity until that moment. Of course, now it's always going to look at her and think, Joanne Fabric, you know, but I'd never even thought about it until then. My husband Jim drove it up to the Fest for Beatle fans and had to deal with it. My dad helped him though, so they both kind of got it into the art room, into the art contest, and that way it was ready to go when the contest opened at 5, because it is done on popular vote. So if you enter the contest late, you lose all of the votes of everybody who's already come in and voted, which is really not a great strategy if you're hoping to win an award in the contest. So I walk into the art room, and it was already getting some attention, which was so cool, but there were these two guys standing in front of it talking to each other. So I'm standing off to the side kind of listening to see what they're really thinking, and they're like, well, that's cool, that's the lyrics, yeah, it's the British lyrics, and it's the British album cover. Oh, that was smart, she used the British album cover. I'm like, huh? What, I did? Because remember, when I picked the album cover, I just picked the one that was a nice high-resolution image on Google. I didn't pick the British album cover on purpose, and they're like analyzing it. Like I'd put some great thought into picking the British album cover, but I learned that when this parlophone symbol is down here, that it's the British album cover. So in fact, by pure coincidence, it's kind of cool because I did do the British songs, because the American version of the album has different songs. It's not the same. Plus, it's the way the Beatles meant it to be. You know, they picked those 14 songs for the album, not the American 14 songs. Capitol Record picked those. And so I had already done that, but I'd never really thought about the album cover being different. And so I learned something myself from the two guys about my own artwork. My kind of dream for the piece was that I would take it there, and Klaus Bormann, who designed the cover, would be there, and he would see it. That was like the vision. So the girl who runs the art room, her name's Deco, and she had already said as soon as she saw it, she was like, Klaus has to see this, Klaus has to see this, I'm gonna tell him, I'm gonna get him to come. So she in fact did go and tell him about it, and you know she was trying to pull the strings and work it, and in fact the last day of the fest, which was Sunday, about 11:30 in the morning, I get a text message. Unfortunately, I was about 30 minutes away from the fest when I got it, and she's like, he's gonna come now. And if I had been on the premises, I would have been able to see him, but there were pictures. I have some. There he is. Klaus Bormann with my artwork. So for me, I didn't get to be there. If I'd been there, I'd be in the picture with Klaus, but I did get the picture, and I know that he saw my artwork. So I asked Deca, what do you say? What do you say? And she said he was so excited when he saw it. He really enjoyed it, but what really got him, and something that a lot of people don't know, Klaus Bormann's signature is actually worked into the piece. And so she said he was even getting a little teary-eyed. He was so excited when he saw that I had kept his name in the piece of art. But in fact, I worked it into this corner right here. It's his signature. And his first name, Klaus, is like worked into the word dead, which probably isn't the best of words, but it's kind of interesting. It's part of She Said, I Know What It's Like to Be Dead. And Klaus's signature I preserved there in the piece because it is part of the piece, and I wanted to be true to every line that he had drawn.